We are live. We're live. We're here. We made it. And we are excited about today's continuation of the topic of 7 habits of highly effective people. We're going to be right back in just a minute. Get ready. We're going to be digging in and taking us through each one of the elements of today's habit just in a moment.
Good morning. My name is Brian McNeill.
And I am Lisa Santiago McNeill.
And thank you for joining us on our show, Let's Talk About It. We come to each Monday through Friday right here on the SIBN network, on iHeartRadio, YouTube, TuneIn, as well as Facebook Live. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Like.
Like. We're actually here. Hey, honey.
Good morning.
Good
All
morning.
right. Good morning. How you guys doing?
Doing it.
It's
Wow.
already Thursday of this week.
Can you believe it? Not only is Thursday of this week, it is the last Thursday of the calendar month.
Amazing, actually. But it's a good day. The weather's cooperating in this part of the country.
It's
actually,
good.
everywhere it seems like now.
Excuse me. Woo. Whoa.
I am actually delighted that we're taking this journey through the 7 habits of highly effective people.
Oh, yeah.
And yes, and today is probably going to be the best one.
You think so? You like this one the best? I use this one the most.
And I want everyone to use this one the most.
And I think the rest of them I probably use as much, but many of them have become more intrinsic, like habit number 1.
Yep. Habit number 1 is
be
proactive.
Habit
number 2, where we're going to delve in today, we're going to do a 2-prong today. We're going to do habit number 2, which is to begin with the end in mind. To begin with the end in mind.
Good morning, Brittany. Good
How do you
morning,
want this thing to look when it's done?
What do you want to see? You know, everything that is created, everything that was created at least twice.
At least twice.
At least
most
twice.
likely, let's say twice. At least twice. Everything created was created at least twice.
Everything that has ever been created was created at least twice.
The first time it had to be created was in the mind of the creator, or whoever created.
Right.
That person's mind. They had to decide to build the building.
And you can decide that the mind is the heart, or the mind is the spirit, or the mind is the essence. But we must agree that every creation is first created in a thought.
Yes.
In a thought. Thoughts become things.
Lisa and I have put together maybe 10 or 11 author showcases.
10 or 11? We're in the 20s, honey.
20s?
Yes.
We've done 20 of them?
We started in 17. Right. We did 12 that year. No, we did 6 that year. And then we did, then 8 the following year. That's 14. And that's only up until 19. And in 2020, we did 3.
17.
Nah, we got more than that.
Anyway, we've done
a bunch.
We did a bunch of them. But every single one of them began with a single thought. The very first one came when Lisa said to herself first, and then to me, you know, Brian, we got a lot of friends that have written books, and none of them have any place to showcase it. Why don't we put something together where our friends that have written books can showcase their books? That was the first thought. And now 17, 20, whatever the number is, later, a bunch later, we've blessed a lot of people. And a lot of people have enjoyed them so much. But it all began in a thought. The first place the thing is created is in your mind or in your thought. The second is physically. Okay.
Now, a lot of times when you get ready to create it in the physical and the natural, sometimes we have a tendency to want to rush ahead. You know you cannot eat that on camera. That is against the law. That is against the law of so many different things. Yes, exactly. Yes. Brother Dr. Scott, I'm going to have to tell him you eat chicken.
Eating chicken just off camera.
You don't eat chicken on camera. I know. So, one of the things that can often affect a final product or final outcome or final result or final manifestation. Good morning, Michelle DeWitt. Thanks for joining us this morning. Is not taking enough time in step one. Beginning with the end in mind is really that reflective and evaluative process that is so important to the manifestation of your final result for several reasons, not just for the final product, not just for the final tangible thing, but also for how quickly it can be made manifest and to what degree.
Beginning with the end in mind is such an amazing thought, an amazing concept. And it's almost, I really believe it's a critical thought. You know, you read a book from the beginning to the end, but you build a book from the ending to the beginning. I got that bit of knowledge from my favorite publisher this morning, actually. Just like a successful, Lisa Santiago McNeill. Just like successful businesses are built from the end to the beginning. They decide what they want this business to be, do, have, and what it's going to look like, what kind of profitability to do it the best. You decide what you want it to be when it's working, and then you build the legs or stages up to that place.
You know, what also we can also find to be true is that when we already, the clearer a picture that we have of the final outcome. I am so glad that Chef George is on, Pastor George Allen is on, talking about Brian always makes my morning when he gets his eat on. He's serious about that thing. So
thank you, sir.
Brittany says, I enjoy showcasing my book and my brand. And Melissa, good morning, everyone. Good morning to you, my love. So the clearer a picture that you can have about what your end result is, the better and oftentimes easier it is to manifest it. That's why it's often easier for the second person to break the
4-minute mile.
Right.
Now they have a picture of it being done. They have a hope of it being done. We're going to talk a lot about hope today and how to manifest it. Beginning with the end in mind.
These raspberries didn't gross me out.
Random. I'm right in the middle of my thought, but okay.
I'm sorry. I usually don't like raspberries.
Anyway.
I'm sorry.
Wise boy. But anyway, beginning with the end in mind. Now, I'm going to take you guys big picture. How do you want your life to end up? How do you want your life to end up? How do you want your life to end up is what I said. Imagine you're at a funeral and it's your funeral. What would you want people to say about you? Do you want them to say, he sure spent a lot of time in the office? You want them to say he shared love? You want them to say, what would you want them to say about you at the end of your life? What would you want your children to say about you? What would you want your spouse to say about you? What would you want your coworkers to say about you at the end of your life?
Good morning, Bill. Good morning, Miss Phyllis.
As clearly as you can articulate what you'd want them to say, you're halfway there to achieving that kind of life. Just the design of it, just the being able to articulate it. We too, Brittany, guess who else likes when you showcase your books? Guess who else likes it, Brittany? Everyone likes it when you showcase your books. Brother George Allen, I got some savory chicken here, chicken drumsticks. I got the gravy all on them, man. They're melted and they're delicious. So I'm going to attempt to eat as I do this show. I also believe I do a better show when I got food in my system. So you're going to have to pick up, baby, so I can get me a bite.
Is that the way it works? No, Brittany, I'm not allowed to have a random thought, right? Because he don't ever have random thoughts. This piece of chicken is not random right now. Beginning with the end in mind is a big part of every single part of coaching and development that I do with my clients. We call it the 5-step manifestation process, and it begins with the end in mind. Often people, when they think of the word reflection, they think of reflection as going into the past, looking back over something. And that is actually true, although it is the first step of beginning with the end in mind, because you're looking back at the image that you had for the final outcome or the final result. I want a children's book. I want a what? No, that's fine. You're fine. Your children's book, your self-help book, your personal development book, whatever your book is, we have to begin with the end in mind. We need to know, how do you want your reader to feel when they are done with your book? Now, mind you, we make this assessment before you've written a single thing. That's usually where you would interject, but you're coming. Mm-hmm. Your complexion is so handsome. Mm-hmm. You shaved everything. Yep. It's cute.
I took off my chin strap.
And I much prefer a goatee to a chin strap any day of the week.
Duly noted.
I like to see more of my husband's handsome face, or any man's handsome face. I will be so happy when this whole trend of beards goes.
They're never going away.
To the devil. I will be glad.
It's not going away, baby.
It needs to. People look like, no, it doesn't. They look like butt faces.
Whenever
like hairy butt faces.
Whenever I make a post, and I've been doing it probably for 10 years, if I make a post, should I keep a beard or not? Or should I grow my beard or not? 90% of people say, get a beard, get a beard, get a beard.
That's because of this trend that we have with these beards. I loathe them. I loathe the beard. My son rocks a beard. Absolutely. That doesn't mean I like it. I like you. I love you. I do not like when your face is covered in fur.
I don't do the whole full beard, babe. I just do like
you could.
I could, yeah.
But I don't like it. I don't know what he needs to hear.
I ain't hearing nothing.
I hate it when it's big and bushy. I hate it when it's sparse.
So I like it though sometimes.
Sparse and little bits.
I think it makes me look more mature too.
I don't like it on my melanated or non-melanated brothers. Now I can say it looks good on some people, but I don't like it.
There's so much to talk about when you begin with the end in mind. Lisa just started her 5 steps to what do you call it?
5 steps to manifestation.
5 steps to manifestation of anything. Okay, and I think they marry beautifully with the concept of begin with the end in mind. Begin. It's what goal setting is, right? Beginning with the end in mind.
That's essentially what every project must have. One of the elements that it must have is a vision, a goal, and then the pieces that go in between to take it from vision to execution, fulfillment, or what we call is manifestation. You can love the beards, Brittany. I don't like them. I don't like them. This man is going to town in this chicken over here. I need to call Dr. Scott. Because he is a co-laborer in the chicken.
Dr. Marlon Scott. I know Lisa don't like me when I eat food like this during the show because I'm late on my timing, But you don't have to deal with it, girl.
I see that. I don't have a problem with it. I'll make it. I'll deal with. That's the last of the chicken, isn't it?
It's the last of the chicken this round.
This round?
They still sell it at the store.
No. That's the problem with just being the two of us. The packages are too big, and the small ones are not enough. It's just that.
That's all right. I don't mind leftovers. I like leftovers. You know that.
I know. I don't.
Beginning with the end in mind. Now, Lisa laid out her 5 steps to manifestation of any. Well, she started laying them out.
I was about to say I didn't lay them all out.
I know. Started there. The first one was
reflection.
And you said something just a moment ago. Now, most people think when you say the word reflection, they're thinking about just in the past. But that's not so. What does it really mean?
So reflection is evaluating the thoughts that are in your mind. It I honestly believe that many of the thoughts that are in our mind were already in there. We just didn't always give them attention. I think Brian is giving me these little setup questions so he can go off and eat chicken.
Because
It's horrible. It's horrible. Oh my goodness, I cannot. And you're messing with the lighting all the way
I
around.
would do something like that?
Yes. Reflecting, I believe that there are so many thoughts that are in our minds that we actually ignore because we overlook them. We don't give them the value that they should. We sometimes simply don't allow us enough time to use our imagination, daydreaming and imagining what something would look like, what life would be like, how things would feel if you actually accomplished A, B, or C, or got to that place in your mind, brought that place in your mind into this sphere of manifestation.
Beginning with the end in mind, the first part, reflective, and step 5 steps to manifestation. This is why a dream board does work. This is why it does work.
A dream board does
Yes,
work.
yes.
You said a dream boy. Dream boys work too. They work hard for the money. I'm sorry.
Your Honor, let me put this in as Exhibit A.
Hey, Cynthia, good morning. Good morning, Yvette.
The reason why they work is because you get a chance to dream about it and see it and feel it. Now, if you just write down your goals and never touch it again, it's going to have limited impact. But if you'll write it down and review it often,
yes,
review it often, and if you review it often with some feeling and with some emotion, and if you allow yourself to feel what that might feel like, it's almost certain you're going to get it.
Yeah, it really is. And so often we don't take enough time to review it. Like so many people talk about their business plans as if they are a concrete, finite document. I need to write my business plan, or I got my business plan for my business, and then they fold it up and they put it in a drawer. I could say anything here and he would not interject because he's very busy with that chicken over there. If your vision board has not evolved in the physical sense, meaning you haven't updated it, you haven't changed anything in it since you began, then you are missing some opportunities for growth, because there was much that was not included in your business plan when you first created it because you simply didn't even know that it was possible. You had to begin the process of moving in the direction of your growth and vision in order for these other pieces to become illuminated. Cynthia says, how is a dream board different from a vision board? It's not. It's just a different name for it. You can use them interchangeably.
The chicken is done now. The chicken is done.
The chicken is done.
I'm sad to see it go, but it's done. William Brown says, Lisa, my definition expanded on reflection after named in my morning show, Morning Reflections. I thought it was only about what I saw and has now more about what I'm currently seeing. That makes sense to me, Bill.
I don't know how it could make sense with the way you read it. Brian reads things exactly as you type them.
Really? Just like I read a book exactly the way it's written, right?
Yeah, but no.
What's wrong with that?
Because
that's the right way, baby.
Okay. That's not the right way. That's one way. Good morning.
Good morning, Coach John.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
Well, our topic today is habit 2 of the 7 habits of highly effective people. Begin with the end in mind. And we're also going through Lisa's 5 steps to manifestation of anything. First step was reflection.
Reflection is beginning to grab hold of all of the deposits that have to do with the image of the thing that you are trying to manifest. Dr. Deborah says many times I use reflecting when doing guided imagery meditation. Absolutely. Reflection will help you to illuminate what is now, what should be or could be, as well as sometimes it can give you insights into things that you may want to change.
Now, we started this broadcast off, and I said I believe that this habit here, this thought process here, is probably the most important one. One of the books that really, really impacted me in my life is called Passion, Profit, and Power by Marshall Silver. This guy's an entertainer, hypnotist. But he has this thing early in the book, and he says, I want you to write down your ideal day. Your ideal day when you don't have to work that day. Okay? Your ideal day. What are you doing first? What are you doing second? What time are you waking up? What are you doing? And write it out. And then he said, imagine writing your ideal day doing what you want to do for a living. Mine was something like I'd get up early and I would go downstairs from the hotel lobby and I'd have breakfast with some really, really interesting people that I met at the conference. And then after breakfast, I'd go in and do my 9 a.m. workshop. And then I have lunch with dynamic people that I had met at the event. And then I come back I got a chance to tour the city that I happened to be in after the morning workshop. Mm-hmm. And after lunch, I explored the city for a little while. Then I went back up into my hotel room and I had a great time there. And then I had a great sleep and I got on the plane the next morning heading back home. Okay, that was like an ideal day because I figured I'd be a full-time speaker and workshop facilitator, flying to cool places, meeting wonderful people. That was my ideal day the first time I did it. Mm-hmm. Interesting, though, when people write, and I, it's so amazing, too. Every time I read what I wrote or even thought about what I wrote, it jazzed me up.
That's one of the importance of writing the vision and making it plain. We all know that the word says in Habakkuk 2:2, if you write the vision, make it plain, you can run and not faint. It's going to give you an infusion of energy
definitely
when you review it. Now, one of the things also that it can do is it can show you how far you've come. When you review your vision up against where you are right now, you can see how far you've come. While oftentimes when we first write the vision, things seem afar off. But much like the illustration that was provided by one of the videos that we shared, that we watched this morning, the gentleman was talking about his working out in the gym and doing the suicides up and back. And the coach never said when they were going to stop.
They didn't know how many they had to do.
How many did they had to do?
Doing the workout.
They were just doing the workout. But once
they would be dragging
and about dead. How many of y'all ever wake up and you're on your way to progress and it is like, I am exhausted. I can't do another step. But then you reach that edge of that finish line.
Then the coach says, okay, this is the last one.
Make it count.
Now, the idea that this is the last one, these same athletes that were dragging
had used all of their
no energy at all.
They had expended what they thought was all they had.
The idea, this is the last one, they all got enough energy to burn that one out. That was probably the best one. They burned it out because they knew it was the last one. The coach gave them some hope by saying this is the last one. Mm-hmm. And they got energy.
And they got re-energized. And that last lap, sprint, whatever it was filled with so much more than they ever even had imagined that they would have at that time. They thought that they were spent.
A very, very vivid example of the power of writing these things down and looking for these things and having hope in that was 2016, Lisa and I. Yeah, that was one of the first ones. Lisa and I had gotten energized or motivated or learned something, and we decided to write out everything that we wanted to do or be or go that year, accomplish that year. Now, in January 2016, neither one of us had been published yet, okay? But we both wanted to have written books that year. Mm-hmm. We both had wanted to speak to this place and go that place and buy this thing or that thing. Now, we had several things, and we wrote it up on a big board, big whiteboard, mm-hmm. And we had it positioned so whenever we walked into our office every day, because we worked from home, we had to walk past it. Okay, so sometimes we'd look at it, sometimes we'd make note of it, but most of the time it was just we notice it in passing. And by the end of the year, or even before the end of the year, we looked at that and we were stuck and startled and
awestruck.
Awestruck is the right word. I can't believe everything on this board we had done. By that point, I had written 2 books. Lisa had written 3, I think, at that point. We had done everything that we took our time to write on, and it was just like it was the most amazing moment. We had done everything we wrote down that we're gonna do. Message, okay.
Message. I have deleted and blocked that individual. I certainly believe that everybody on this broadcast would know well enough to not to send a stranger their credit card number and their address in order to win an iPhone. But just in case you need a little reminder, don't give out your credit card information to strangers on Facebook who are spammy.
And low. And low
But what did Melissa call him the other day? Steven Stevens. Steven Stevens. She was making up names for everything. Steven Stevens.
So reflections first one. Let's the next one.
Yeah, reflections is the first one in the 5 steps. The second is evaluation.
Ooh.
Evaluation is so critical, and there's so many things to evaluate. You've got to take some time in this one.
Challenge I have with evaluation, and I'm just I think evaluation is important, but I don't believe most people can do an honest evaluation on their own.
Well, you shouldn't. I agree. This is me working with my clients.
Okay.
There's outside eyes looking, and sometimes you really cannot see the forest without the trees.
I'm surprised you would agree with that so easily, actually, because I thought you was going to buck that because you have it on your list.
No, these are not necessarily these are not necessarily independent sports. I think that there is so much to do about the manifestation that has to do with a unified like touching and agreeing. I believe that touching and agreeing in almost all of the 5 steps is going to help to accelerate what you are looking to manifest.
We're supposed to do this stuff with somebody. Mm-hmm. We're supposed to make our journey with somebody. Evaluation, I believe, is tough to do on your own because we're so good at hiding ourselves from ourselves and defending ourselves from others, defending ourselves. Yes, I am. I am a good guy and all that stuff. We're so good of seeing old friend when we look in the mirror. So it's sometimes very, very challenging to evaluate ourselves by ourselves.
But evaluation is not only about evaluating yourself. In this step, this evaluation is evaluating what you're trying to manifest. What is the outcome that you're looking to get? What ingredients or parts and pieces do you already have? And what pieces and parts do you still need? Understanding in the evaluation process, you're getting the chance to take stock. Yes, of yourself, and sometimes we need help for that, but also of the things that you have, because we need help with that as well. Sometimes we overvalue or undervalue or misvalue things that are going to be involved.
Beverly says evaluation is true, but tough to swallow. She also says, for me, okay, Cynthia Murray says, Frozen, you talking about the movie or were we frozen? And good morning to you as well, Miss Brenda.
Good morning.
How you doing?
Oh, thank you for joining us.
We're talking about the 7 habits of highly effective people today, particularly habit 2, which is begin with the end in mind. We're also journeying at the same time down Lisa's 5 steps to manifestation of anything. We just introduced the second step of manifestation. Step 1 was reflection. Step 2 was evaluation. What's step 3, baby?
Well, step 3 is actually what a lot of people want to put as step 1.
Okay.
Projection is what I want. That's what I want. That's what I want. Like, that's what I'm going to do. And a lot of times we make that the first step. But in many cases, we may be closer to some manifestations than others. And sometimes if you manifest something else that is connected to what your final manifestation is, but you have more of the parts for it, if you manifest that first, then you can make the other consequential manifestations come about a lot quicker.
But what's the folly of rejecting first versus third?
What's the folly of rejecting
What's wrong
first?
with that?
Okay, so let's say that we wanted to manifest an erected building.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And we're projecting that we want to make that building.
Mm-hmm. I want to make this building 30 stories high.
30 stories high.
Okay.
That projection may be further out or closer if depending on what other parts you've already done. Have you already acquired funding?
Nope.
Have you already cleared land? Do you already have right?
All I have is an idea.
So some of those projections, some of those goals may need to be met before that final goal. Now, that's not in every case, but in some cases it is. And that's why we have step 4 and 5, because step 4 and 5 help you to tweak. Understand all of this is in pencil, right? You're not concrete yet. You may figure out something in this process that makes you decide, I'm going to do this element before I do this element. I'm going to do this part. I'm going to manifest this before I manifest that. I'm going to do this or that before I do something else. But allowing you, I love this topic from Leanne. I like that. Take stock from Dr. Deborah. But allowing you to take the time to project what it is that you want will give you the opportunity to then have the responsible action of step 4. Specification. All right. I want to build this 30-story building. What has to happen before that happens? What has to happen, right? So maybe you write this 5-step manifestation plan and you find out that in my specification step, I'm going to have to create a whole new manifestation, 5-step manifestation for some of the steps in my specification. Because there's stuff that has to get done first. Oftentimes, if you're going to build a 30-story building, you've got to dig a 30-story deep foundation. You've got to make sure that the land that you've identified for that is zoned to be dug that deep, is available with the boundaries, because it's got to have a certain amount of boundaries around it in order to be able to do that. You've got to get really, really specific.
Okay.
And those specificities will allow you to take that final step, which is clarification. Clarification is when your timelines are getting done. That's when you have, in the specification step, you figure out who, what, when, and where, right? You figure it out. I might have to take a class. I might have to get some zoning. I might have to do whatever. I might need 5 or 10 or 100 other people. I may need more than I have right now.
Now, the coolest thing I'm listening to, going through your 5 steps to manifestation, everything, understanding more fully the concept of beginning with the end in mind.
Absolutely.
You know what the underlying punchline of this seems to be to me is this part right here gives you hope along the way, or gives you encouragement along the way, or it gives you the end, like the story we told about the athletes. Okay, this is the last sprint, burst of energy. Okay, that thought that this is the last what they're going to have to do gives them a burst of energy. It gives them hope to carry on, and we do need that hope to carry on these things, beginning with the end in mind. But you need some. I heard about a study just this morning. I had never heard this study before. I hope Melissa's tuning in. Okay. But they did this study with rats where they put rats in buckets of circulating water to see how long they could swim before they sank. And they did the first one, put the rats in buckets of circulating water. The rats were able to swim for about 15 minutes before they started to sink. Okay. Now they did another, that's all, just 15 minutes. And then it would take the rat out. Now, they discovered that when they saw the rats sinking in about 15 minutes, if they take the rats out of the water and dry them off and allow them to rest for a little bit, give them a little bit to eat and all of that, and then put them back in the buckets to see how long they could swim, after the rats had that time of being dried off and allowed to rest and had something to eat, and you put them back in that bucket, guess how much longer they were able to swim? They were able to swim 60 hours. It went from 15 minutes to 60 hours. Now, what the scientists concluded was the rats had an idea that someone would come along eventually, rescue them from this bucket, dry them off, let them rest and eat. They had a hope, thought in their head, and allowed them to swim for 60 hours, where before they could only do it for 15 minutes. And I heard that story this morning. I'm thinking like, wow, just with the idea of hope ahead of you. You know, that burst of that ability to just keep going. And I know that to be true because there's so much in life where we think we're done And then someone says, I remember me running in the Army, and we had to do, I was in trouble. So I had to do a 3-mile check run, okay? Or I couldn't have the weekend off, okay? And I wanted to go see my girlfriend at the time, but I had to do this 3-mile check run, and I had to do it at the end of the workday. So it was like 5 o'clock when I started the daggone run. I'm already tired. I'm pissed off that I have to do it. But if I don't do it, I can't leave post for the weekend. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to go see my girlfriend. Okay. Now, as I'm running this 3-mile check run, I got my head down, just looking just a little bit further in front of my feet and checking ahead and all that kind of stuff. When I got to the point where I was dog tired, and I got about 1.5 miles, 2 miles, I ain't feel like I could run anymore. My legs are heavy. I'm tired. I'm pissed off. It's at the end of my work day. That means I had worked all day. I didn't just start this thing fresh. I'm pissed off. And I thought about my desired outcome. I wanted to go see her, and I was able to keep putting steps in front of me until I finished the daggone check run. Mm-hmm. The hope of something ahead of us. We talked about it yesterday, Dr. Viktor Frankl. The people who had something to look forward to were able to endure better.
Hope, none of this is news, and I know that we all want to have areas that we take credit for. And I'm grateful for the parts that God allows us to play along the way. But write the vision, make it plain, that they may run and not faint, are over 2,000-year-old instructions that clearly say, begin with the end in mind, so that you can have hope for the finish.
So good. Say that again slowly so the people can all get it.
They can watch the replay.
No. Write the vision.
Write the vision. Make it plain so that they may run and not faint.
Not quit. Not fall out. Be able to make it through to the end. Oh.
We didn't invent it. Stephen Covey can't take credit for it. Lisa
It made him a millionaire taking credit for that.
Right. Lisa Santiago's 5-step manifestation process, all of these things, we can call it what we want. It came from the word. It came from the word. And it specifically is about beginning with the end in mind and writing it down. Writing it down is critical.
You cannot get away with that step.
That's why the vision boards work. That's why the dream boards, vision boards, whatever you want to call them, that's why they work. Because they're giving you something to lay your eyes on and reinvigorate your why. If you properly defined it, it's going to re-energize your why.
So they can see it and run to it.
Oh, that's right. Habakkuk 2:2.
Thank you, Sister Dr. Beverly. That's what the move is. It's 9:36. Begin with the end in mind. Let's replay the 5 steps manifestation one more time before we.
Sure. Okay. Step 1, reflection.
Reflection. Think about what that means. Okay, give me a sentence about reflection.
So reflection simply means taking time to dream in your mind.
Okay.
Dream in your mind. What do you want the end result to be? What do you want people to feel when they have it, see it, feel it, taste it, touch it? Reflect on that. Evaluation. What do you already have in your wheelhouse of information, of tools, of resources, of people? What do you already have? Projection. When do you want this to manifest? When do you want this to manifest? Projecting for the end result. When do you want it to happen? Specification is reevaluating those first 3 points with any caveats of things that may be necessary and within your control prior to the manifestation, so that you can get the tools, the education, the training, the people, the resources that you need in place. And clarification is simply that. It is the timelines. It is, when is this going to happen? When is this going to happen? When is this going to happen? All the way down to your timeline, so that you have checkpoints in your project plan to help you to know where you are, when you're slipping, when you're advancing, and how long before you get to hold your precious manifestation.
Now, let's say you have the clarification, you have your time points in there, and you miss it. You miss that checkpoint. Then what? So it doesn't matter. Just keep going. You'll catch up. That's
Yeah,
what
I was
look
about to say, I don't even know why you mentioned that.
at. Well,
But no,
because-
it's so that you can calculate slip.
yeah.
That's ultimately what it is, so that you can calculate slip. Okay, we were supposed to do this by this date. We didn't get it done because this happened. Now, what additional things do we need to have to happen? Do we need to have more resources? Do we need to add more time? What do we need to do to make this happen? And understand, sometimes things accelerate versus decelerating, and you won't think that you had anything to do with it, and that's because you don't. The universe is bringing you what your heart desires because you are in alignment with it.
All right. Now, we're not going to forget you. Oh, no, no, no. We're going to do our greeting songs today. Greeting songs are the people that have been rocking with us. Greeting songs are the people that are consistent contributors, and it's something fun we do. And each one that we have a song for deserves it. Some of you guys also deserve a greeting song. We haven't yet got you one, but we want you to have one. Up first is Dr. Deborah Dunstan.
Dr. Deborah, healing and deliverance coach.
Up next is our sister Brittany Thomas.
It's Brittany, it's Brittany, it's Brittany, Brittany Thomas, it's Brittany, it's Brittany, it's Brittany, Brittany, it's your time. It's your time. Yeah.
Awesome. Good job. Now, Michelle DeWitt just got her song yesterday. Do you remember it? Roger.
Michelle do
Do it. DeWitt, Michelle DeWitt.
yes.
Right?
DeWitt, Michelle DeWitt, me DeWitt.
It's DeWitt twice.
Do it. DeWitt, Michelle
DeWitt.
DeWitt. Yeah,
That's it.
that's it right there.
All right, we're gonna get it better than Michelle. We're gonna work on. We're still working on that.
Good morning. Did we do Brittany?
Yes, you just sang
Oh,
Brittany.
I just sang it. Oh my goodness, I lost it. And hey, Brittany Ziegler-Woody, thanks for joining us this morning. Good morning.
Bow, 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 bow. But listen, song. Now it's time for us to sing our song.
But listen, song.
I know we did have a song for Brittany. Come on, remember?
Brittany Ziegler-Woody.
Yes, we did, and she approved it too.
You gotta help us, Brittany.
Brittany, remind us what your song was. Just put it in the chat, please.
Miss Phyllis is here.
Miss Phyllis is here, so clear the way. Miss Phyllis is here. Now we can all have a great day.
Good morning, Miss Phyllis. Good morning, Bill.
Good morning to our friend Bill. Nobody thinks like him still. We love him so, and we always will. Our friend Bill. Good morning to our friend Mr. William Brown.
Good
Today,
morning.
a one-word conversation. Did we do that?
No, and you don't get to do it.
Yeah.
Today on One Word Conversations, the word of the day is interesting. Interesting. And Bill's special guest is Dane Dormio right here on the Empowerment Duo Facebook page and the Empowerment Network.
How many of you guys remember Bugs Bunny when he's being chased through the castle by this monster, and he does this little gag where he starts doing the monster's hair, and he says, "You're such an interesting monster, and I'm sure you meet such interesting people in your interesting line of work."
I actually,
That's how old school I am.
I love that. I remember the monster. With the
That's
big-
right. That's right. Big, red, all that stuff.
He wasn't red. He had black hair.
No, he wasn't. He was all red. The
he
whole
was
thing. Red Harry.
All right.
Ugh.
But the word interesting, it used to cause so many arguments. I didn't like the word interesting because it was so ambiguous. And people could be.
That's like seeing a fine woman and say, "You look interesting today." That's for you, Dr. Beverly.
My feet are cold.
What do you know about it?
Warm them up. That's your job.
No, that's not my
The
job.
husband handbook.
Oh my God.
The husband handbook. Dr. Beverly is here.
Dr. Beverly is on the show. Good morning, Dr. Beverly. How you doing? You look so interesting today, Dr. Beverly.
Don't do it.
Cynthia Murray. I got that sister with me. Good morning, Cynthia Murray. Hey, 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 ha.
Hey, hey, hey,
Our friend It's tricky to buy a home or sell a home. Don't do it alone. Choose Brenda.
Hey,
Choose Brenda.
It's tricky to buy a home, to sell a home. Don't do it alone. Choose Brenda. Hey, choose Brenda.
That's right.
Hey,
Who we got?
Brenda.
Oh, Sister Leanne is here.
It's Leah. It's Leah.
Time is a wheel in constant motion, always rolling us along. Tell me who wants to look back on their years and wonder where those years have gone. Good morning, Miss Leanne. How you doing?
And Viviana, we're gonna read it here. Viviana, read it here, and now the show can go on. Oh.
Good morning, Miss Vivian. We love each and every one of you guys who choose to spend these few moments with us each day. That's our man, David E. Lucas. He's been a guest on our show, right?
Hey, David, thanks for joining. Glenda's riding on the freeway with makeup in her pink Cadillac.
That's right, Miss Glenda. Now, Glenda right there, she's riding on the freeway in makeup in her pink Cadillac. Now, from what I understand, she has not yet actually gotten her first pink Cadillac through Mary Kay, but she's going to get one. She got a song. She got a vision. She's got something to move. She's got hope in the game.
Please let me say this. If you can put a soundtrack to your vision, ooh, honey. When I tell you, sound, we know this intrinsically, but we don't always apply it to the rest of our lives, right? But sound is transportation. It is the vehicle that carries us through our lives. You have a soundtrack to when you were a teenager, when you were your first summer romance, your best summer experience. You got a soundtrack for all those things. We use sound and music in things like events to create certain energies in the room. We use sound and music at church. You know the difference between praise and worship. You know the difference between prayer, and you certainly know the money sound, right? When it's about to be offering.
Soundtrack of Brian McNeill as a teenager. I'm the leader of the show, keeping you on the go, and I know I can't live without my radio. And sucker MCs is you. I'm pleased to take that, move back, catch a heart attack, because there's nothing in the world that Rum will ever lack, and go chill out at a party in a b-boy stance. The rapper on the mic make the girls want to dance. Fly like a dove, I come from up above. I'm rapping on the mic and you can call me Run Love. That's the soundtrack of my teenage years.
And so if you can intersperse sound with your vision, intersperse music with it, and then if you want to add the kicker, put some smell on it.
Now, put some smell on it.
This, why do you think the real estate people put
baked cookies,
cinnamon or baked cookies, or have potpourri on the stove with nothing but vanilla and cinnamon in it? Because they're creating these powerful,
when they let people tour the houses, that the smart ones do
go through your olfactory senses and trigger memories, and memories are reflections, and reflections help your vision to be manifest.
Now you can do that. We've talked about this a few times on our show. If you are willing to, because you have enough time to, take 5 minutes and sit in the chair and think about, some people call it meditate about, what you want your life to be, and allow yourself to feel the feelings. If you drove that car, if you lived in that home, if you took that trip, hearing the sounds of that beach and smelling the sounds of that ocean, and smelling the smells of that ocean. If you allow yourself those 5 minutes a day, you're moving towards it. You're moving towards it. Vivian Reed says, what a memory, Brian Keating Hill.
Absolutely. It is the complex combination of your senses, your imagination, your vision, and all of these pieces and parts that can bring about the manifestation.
Yes. So I do think beginning with the end in mind is a very, very important part of it. Yes, engage all those senses in your vision. I tell you, it's transformative when you do that. I've done it several times in my life in seasons where I decided, you know what, this ain't working out. Let me try this, this 5 minutes in the chair thing with my eyes closed and fixing it. And it's always amazing to me how fast my life turns around when I do that.
Absolutely. Oh, we forgot Ja. Ja is in the house.
Ja is in the house. Boom, boom. Ja is in the house. And Ja's going to be in the house for a couple of years because he got a brand new baby. Yes, he is in the house.
Yes. Dear Yvette.
Dear Yvette. Dear Yvette. Dear Yvette. Good morning to you, Miss Yvette Goodrich. How are you today?
Thank you so much for joining us today. I mean, you guys are awesome. We can't imagine starting the day without you guys. We are grateful that we get to do what we love every single day.
Monday through Friday, we do this, and we don't always promote our own businesses. So why do we do it? There's a lot of reasons why we do this show without promoting our own business. First off, you do establish a start time for us. In the show, you added normalcy and structure to our own lives.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Also, you satisfied our desires for community and social interaction.
Absolutely,
we get that fed through you guys,
and we're grateful for that.
And we're grateful for that.
Now, ladies, we can have even a little bit more socialization. You know that next week is First Friday on March the 5th. Women Empowerment Networks. We will be connecting together on the Zoom at 7 p.m. on Friday. All you have to do to register is make sure that you get added to the distribution list. Go to IamLisaSantiago.com/win and go ahead and opt in. We'll make sure you get an invitation and we will see you there at 7 p.m.
Now, this particular week, there's been a conference called Black and Iconic. They've got hundreds of the best thought leaders in the country. This morning, they had Dr. Dennis Kimbrough, and he was sharing about his book. He was sharing about life, and it was great this morning. This evening, and they've had Dr. George Frazier. They've had amazing people, plus a couple of hundred other thought leaders that you may not have heard, but still are being really, really impactful. Tonight, I am honored to be one of the featured speakers. I got 20 minutes tonight. I already recorded it, but it's a good 20 minutes. So I'm going to be amongst the number at the Black and Iconic Conference. I have it running on my page right now. You can just go to Black CEO on Facebook group or blackceo.com to get it. But it's a beautiful thing, and you're getting some amazing content sharing with the world. So you should tune in. Mm-hmm. blackceo.com, or I'm just on the Black CEO Facebook group. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely, absolutely. So today is Thursday. That means we got one more day this week. We got one more of the habits of highly effective people, the 7 habits this week. We'll be doing habit number 3 on tomorrow. We look forward to sharing that with you.
I meant to say this one more thing about Black and Iconic. I am personally honored to be there. That's all. Honored to be asked up front to be a part of this. That's all.
That's awesome. I'm glad that you're getting to participate in that. There's so many heavy hitters in there, including yourself, that I follow already. I follow Dennis Kimbrough. I follow Dr. George Frazier. And Dr. George Frazier kissed me, as a matter of fact.
He always tells that story.
And as a matter of fact, I think Dr. Dennis Kimbrough kissed me too.
He probably did. Mm-hmm. But he didn't dap you up like he dapped me up. I got a picture of that. I got a picture of me and Dr. Dennis Kimbrough in one of these dap ups. I'm gonna post it again today.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I absolutely love it. I wish I could keep track of my photos the way that you do. I'm not as diligent with them. I was looking for a picture today and I couldn't find it.
You can find it.
Okay. I received that.
It's not lost. Okay, that's the thing. And at least it's marvelous sometimes at how fast I can find pictures. First off, I know they're not lost. Okay, and I have an idea about when it was. Mm-hmm. So that's it.
Yeah, but that's because you also post them on Facebook.
Right.
And so they're going to be in that timeline around there. All of mine are not necessarily
Okay,
posted.
that makes it more challenging.
It
You're
makes
right.
it more challenging for me.
You're
That's
very
right.
welcome.
Watch out. You're very welcome, Ms. Yvette. Thank you so much for that.
Yes, Dr. Dennis Kimbrough, Dr. George Frazier gave an amazing talk last year. And I was right there on the corner seat, right where he was standing. And Lisa was right next to me. So we were the closest two people to him as he was speaking. And he had seen us a bunch of times at different events. He has supported a Home for Me, as Lisa and I also support that nonprofit organization, Home for Me, for foster children aging out of the foster care system. So we had seen him a bunch of times. He knew who we were, even if he didn't remember our names, but he had recognized our faces. So when he came off the stage, before anyone else could get to him and congratulate him, we were there first to congratulate him because we were the closest one to him. Thank you for the great talk. And Lisa did her same thing, and then Lisa dived up on him, and then he's like, "Okay, I guess I'll kiss her on the cheek." That's what happened.
I promise you, that's not the way it happened. I promise you, because I was surprised. He's smooth with it.
He's smooth now.
He's smooth with
very
it.
smooth.
Absolutely. Leanne said, you mentioned meditation, and I do have a 30-day mindfulness meditation program. Check it out. Go to Leanne's link in the comments, and you can participate.
Yes.
Absolutely. Now, tomorrow's Shout It Out Friday. In addition to the third habit of the 7 habits of highly effective people, don't leave yourself out of the mix. We want to know what's going on. We want to know what you're up to. We want to share your businesses with our audiences. Make sure that you come ready
to share your
good stuff, and we'll see
who you are in your business.
Yeah, and
your business.
Your business nasty, and we'll check you guys out tomorrow right here on the Empowerment Duo page on the Empowerment Network. And don't forget to have sex.